strong presence of herdsmen in that axis of the southeast, and they have been living in peace. So what went wrong that these attacks had become a bit frequent?
Yeah, it is the aftermath of the national menace of insecurity. Inflammatory publications, inflammatory statements and counter statements, and also the effect of social media. But more importantly is the fact that these armed herdsmen are non-Nigerians. They are foreigners who invaded this our country, moved through the nooks and crannies of the country, and they are unleashing mayhem on people.
Is that a suspicion?
Yeah, that
or
is the
a
suspicion.
confirmed
Yeah,
position?
that is the suspicion, and even government authorities have also mentioned that we have issue of invasion of this country by foreign herdsmen, most of whom are armed. And of course, they are not patriotic, they have no allegiance to this country, and so they can do anything. Because you agree with me that that over the years, traditional herdsmen have been living with us, and we have been living peacefully. Everybody knows the do's and the don'ts. But what is important at this point is the deliberate effort to ensure that we ban open grazing in parts of the country, especially in the southeast, and also raise a lot of do's and don'ts that will guide grazing in parts of Nigeria.
The ban on open grazing was received with so much rejection by the northern part of the country when it was pronounced by the governors of the southern part of the country, where your governor was prominent, even as the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum. Has there been any further engagement between the north and the south? I mean, the governors, if you have an idea, if you know, has there been further engagements to understand why the ban has to be made in the first instance?
Yeah, I cannot speak for southern Nigeria, I cannot speak for southeast. I can only say that as a citizen of Nigeria, I believe that consensus is all there is when there are decisions and counter decisions, opinion and counter opinions. What will resolve it is roundtable talk. I feel that at this point, the leaders across board will have to meet, either through a constitutional process or through deliberate legislation that is across board. They will now decide that, look at the way to go. In the whole world, in advanced countries of the world, open grazing is outdated, it's outlandish, it's rustic, and so we need to appreciate that. But like I would say, it's not by inflammatory statement. We need to really agree we are one Nigeria with one leadership in Nigeria. And I think that when we meet together, we resolve all of these things, and it will be a win-win situation to all of us, and there will be no winner, no loser, no victor, no vanquished.
All right. Another interesting thing is that you mentioned it, at the earlier part of the conversation, that a lot of youth need to be engaged. They need to be kept busy, because when they are not busy, there are easy tools in the hands of people that want to destabilize the system. Tell us what the Ebonyi State government is doing to address this. Because at some point, it's believed or is suspected that most of the hawkers, male hawkers in the cities, particularly Lagos, are from Ebonyi State. And so it makes one to think that if they are better engaged, they may not be, doing such, engaging in such activities in other parts of the country. What is Ebonyi State doing to engage young people and make them gainfully employed?
Yeah, the governor is looking at two sides to it. That is human empowerment and creation of environment. Now, in the area of creation of environment, the governor actually is making Ebonyi State to be an emerging economy in the southeast. Of course, today as I speak with you, Ebonyi State has the fastest developing economy in the whole of the southeast. So what did he do differently in order to create this kind of environment for our people, youth, women, and even our elders and even the younger ones? Is by creating access road so that you can do your business without any hindrance. Access road, as I speak with you, over 1,500 kilometers straight road has been done, 80% in concrete pavement. Is a novel. Of course, you know it's only Dangote that has done concrete pavement all over the country. And again, all the federal highways, linking to Ebonyi State have been done by the governor. All of this is to attract investment, to make for industrialization. And the governor also further had to deepen his infrastructural development by constructing flyovers. Ebonyi State, apart from Lagos and Abuja, is having the highest number of flyovers, incidentally under a single administration. And so to speak, Ebonyi State is having a government that is doing the highest number of flyovers in Nigeria in history. And now, what is the essence of this is to attract investors to make for industrialization. And again, let me say that with the creation of environment, talking about roundabouts, wonderful street light, wonderful water fountains, including what we call Africa's biggest water fountain that is on board in Ebonyi State, is going to attract creative industry, entertainment industry. Today we have what we call the face of Ebonyi State. You need to come and appreciate that. That is a four-way light tunnel, never seen anywhere in Africa. It's the biggest, about 96 span, four-way light tunnel, very beautiful, glitters in the eye. This will also attract investment, attract also creative industry. Now, what of other economic facilities? The shopping mall that the governor built is about the biggest in Africa. I'm quoting Mr. Bruce of Silverbird. And this is going to house no less than 5,000 shops. It's going to create no less than 10,000 jobs, direct and indirect jobs. The national airport that the governor is building is going, in fact, it's the fastest ever project in airport ever in Nigeria. And the governor is thinking that by the end of 2021 that the first plane will land there, all things being equal. And again, this will create jobs. You know what it means? This will also encourage trade, national trade, local trade, and national trade.
Okay, so from what you're saying, it appears the state is opening rapidly.
It's opening rapidly.
But what about human capital development?
That is what I'm coming to.
Okay,
apart from this opening of environment for the people, so that they can have unhindered business, the governor is doing individual empowerment. Incidentally, I was commissioner for human capital development for 2 years. We went to Lagos under our dear governor, empowered 520 number Ebonians walking in the streets of Lagos using women, gave them 130 million naira free of charge. Today they are cruising in prosperity with their family.
So they are off the streets now?
They are off the streets.
Can we assess, can we measure to verify that?
I can tell you that if you ask of the measure, the index of the people that used to be in the streets of Lagos and the number we have now, there is a high reduction. And the governor also went to Onitsha and saw the situation, barrow pushers, Okada riders, even those into IPOP at that time. Because the governor of Anambra State said then that some of those into IPOP were from Ebonyi. What did the governor do? The governor procured tricycles, 400 number tricycles, and gave to youth and women about 650,000, per one, about 260 million for the 400 number. I was there, and it was shared to youth and women, 140 number to those, extremely poor people in Onitsha, Anambra State, and 260 number to those within the shores of the state. And today their means of livelihood has been dignified.
In other words, the government is taking steps to engage and get the youth and women busy in order to dry up the pool of resources, used by bandits and those who are planning evil against the country.
Fantastic.
That's a fine place.
Fantastic. Let me also mention that we have what is called vocational college. The idea is to really capture the artisans, the craftsmen, the technicians who are in the field, all of these people in the street, to give them training. Yes. And after that certification, they will be aided, they will be assisted to access government empowerment programs, including the CBN empowerment programs and the Bank of Industry empowerment program.
That's a fine place. That's a fine place. We need to let it go now. It's interesting, and maybe the part 2 of this conversation will be to find ways of verifying some of these claims that you made, so that we'll have a more informed opinion about what is happening in Ebonyi State and perhaps the southeastern part of the country. Thank you so much, Mr. Uchenna Orji, the Commissioner for Information, Ebonyi State. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
And to you that watched, it's our pleasure that you did. Let's do it again. Thank you so much for watching.